Hello there, all you good people, and welcome to a new Plugin Guru Quik-E video. This is Quik-E video number 25. This is going to be a really fun one. We're going to be going deep into more advanced programming with Omnisphere. My name is John Skippy Lemcool, and I will be your tour guide on this crazy adventure we're about to take. A couple things real quickly before we get into it. I have a website, and I can show you that website right here. And we happen to have a Christmas sale going on right now because you all rock. Perfect timing. Beatropolis, my recycle library, is massively cut. All my Razor, Synth, Massive, Stylus RMX, it's all there on sale. And Omniverse, the new library that just came out for Omnisphere, is there as well. So if you haven't seen those. By the way, there's a couple of things. I have that first song you're hearing at the very beginning. The drum sounds are pretty cool. You can download those sounds for free from my Plugin Guru Facebook page. I have the link on this page. You have to like it, and then you get to see the link, and you can go download these drums. They're only there till January 1st. So after January 1st, this is all null, void, just empty video space. And that song, you can actually hear it up at the SoundCloud Plugin Guru page. And I go through and I detail it's using Omnisphere, and it's using 3 other plugins as well. And I talk about, here's all the steps about what I use for each of the parts. And I talk about what's used for what parts in the song. So you can go check this out. It might help you out, let you hear some of the libraries used in a musical context. Check it out. All right, so we are going to get deep. Let's see, let's just quit that so we have all resources available. We are going to get into Omnisphere, and we're going to dig around on the insides. We're just doing programming. I'm not going to get into the multi-mode, all that stuff. As I've mentioned before, the spectrasonics.net, they've got all these videos that you can watch that get into all the parameters on a more tutorial, step-by-step, owner's manual type of a basis. All right, so in this tutorial, we're going to make 2 patches with Omnisphere. We're going to make first a DSP synth, kind of a big Unison patch, and then turn it into a lead patch so you can see the steps you take to do that. And then the next patch, we're going to make a rhythmic patch, and got some really cool tricks to show you there. So just to start, like I do with all my patches, I always start with an initialized patch. When you say initialize, it says caution. Say OK. And now if you click right here, here's where you choose between samples and synth. And here's where you turn on and off each of the oscillators. I wish there was a way down below here. When you get to some of the other pages later on, the only place to turn on and off oscillators is right here on the mix page. So be aware of that. Only A is on, B is off. So we're only dealing with one of 2 layers to the sound. Now we're going to take this sound, and right here's where you click to choose between a fat to a bright and thinner sawtooth, triangle, sine. Now the sine, by the way, if you hear the click, and you don't want that, if you just bring this up to 0.01, that gets rid of the click. So you can get rid of that very quickly. And then the noise. And these are controls for changing the oscillator shape and symmetry. Symmetry is how you change it. Basically, these control between the sawtooth and the square shape. But on the noise, they do wonderful. All sorts of different types of noise, including more stereo-esque versus mono noise. So make sure you play with those. The noise is just one of the cool features in Omnisphere because it's used. There's a lot of rhythmic patches, and it's really fun because you have so much control over the noise. It's not just one type of noise like most synthesizers. So, like again, that's almost a square, but the symmetry is what really gets you to the square shape. I want more of a sawtooth. So there's a number of controls for changing this oscillator. There's an FM synthesis option to turn on a little modulation by another oscillator that's hidden. That gives you a FM. There's a ring modulator. There's a wave shaper, which gives you sample rate conversion. Crushing, which is like, it does just all sorts of noise and grungifying. Depth is to a wave shaper that you can actually get to different waveforms on this deeper editing page when you hit the magnifying glass. But we're not going to use any of those. We're going to go right over here to the mult. And mult means multiple voices. You have two choices. One is harmonia. And harmonia gives you 2 or 4 voices added to your initial oscillator. And here you can choose transpose. So you could say, minus 24. And then this other one, let's say it's plus 12. So now we have 3 oscillators. Nice, big, and fat. But we're going to go a different route. We're going to go to unison. By the way, if you turn these on, now you have all 4. You could say, let's add a nice octave. Let's add a second. So let's go 14 and octave plus 2. Cool. Nice and big. But we're going to go to unison. Unison has some cool parameters. The detune first can go chorus. And you can really hear the depth is adding extra notes. And this really shows you those extra notes. And fine tune. Now I'm going to show you a quick way to get it to sound a little bit more like a true random sawtooth, because it still has a bit of an attack. That's the same. And for a lot of the dance stuff and synthesizer stuff that I do, I don't like that. So I go over here to the shape and brings it up to like 40. And then control click on this and modulate with randomize. And what that does is bring my value all the way down really small. So I just want to move between 0, it's like 0.27. Now it's more randomized. Even the randomize when you set to a really small value, it's still randomizing in that small range that you give it. I could say wide range, and now I get square wave on some notes. And I love the display because it shows you right here all the time. If I change this from random to LFO1, you see it happening right here. So we want to keep it on random. Bring this down to 0.2, somewhere down there, 2.7. It's better random. Then we want to go here to the amp. So let's look at the filter section real quick. Turning it on. They have a nice default. Here's your filter envelope. The maximum value is going to it, and it has maximum velocity. So depending on what you're doing, if you're doing a lot of dance stuff, immediately turn your velocity off. It's sad, but you want it to be consistent, and then you're going to use other controls to make it go down and so forth. This way also you get a lot of brightness back that was missing because it's counting on you hitting at maximum velocities to get that bright sound. When you play softer, it's not so bright, right? When you bring your velocity down, it's bright all the time. And if it's not bright enough, another cool trick is to go right here to cutoff and say modulate this. And instead of one of these choices that are the generic ones, you can go to all mod sources, and let's say this uses the filter envelope again. And it's brighter. So now I could crank this to be really dark. But it's really bright at the attack. And at this point, I would go to the expand the envelope button And now you can zoom in and see the shape. And there's a number of parameters here. And we'll look at those when we get to the rhythmic stuff a little bit more. What you have to do is control click. And now you see a list of parameters for what shape you want. Curve 1 is a nice curve, but that's as fast as it can go. If you go to curve 2, it goes faster. And if that's not fast enough, there's actually one more called spike, which is just a... Love it. See? Isn't that nice? So already I've shown you a couple of tricks. We've double modulated the filter envelope to get a really bright, spiky pulse. Now on top of this, watch this. This is really fun. On top of that parameter on the cutoff, let's control click and say modulate with wheel. And by default, anytime you select anything, the way to think of these is target is the value, the current value. Source is strength. So they use different words. They say source, and to me it's strength. This is the strength of the control to this, and I want the strength to the wheel to be max. And as you can see, it brings up the wheel control all the way. So now as I play, and at the same time, I also want to bring up a little bit of resonance. So let's go modulate with wheel to the resonance. And instead of being, let's see how it sounds. At this point, let's bring it down so it's not. I do just a little bit. That's too much. I don't want it quite to get too. Just want to open it up a little bit. So just a little bit. And even that small of a parameter change makes a difference to the sound to me. And you can find out by hitting mute. And now, when it's at the brightest, it's not as bright as this. So those kind of details are what, after years and years of doing this, you will start hearing and learning and thinking more about. It makes a difference to the sound. All right, so let's keep moving. We want to take this and look at the effects. And the effects is where it gets really cool. Because unlike, I can't think of any other synth that's built this way. The layout for the effects is so cool. Because there's 3 places you can have up to 4 effects on one patch. And the way it's designed, A can have up to 4 effects that control and affect only the A oscillator. B can have its own 4 effects that control just the B oscillator, which currently is off. So if I went to the effects, and if I'm on B, and I choose reverb, you will not hear it. Because the B oscillator is not even being used. So you have to really pay attention to where you're putting your effects. So you want to be on A. Let's say, let's just do reverb for the start. Some parameters on the reverb that you might want to look at that are really nice. I like to bring up the time of the high frequency a little bit more. Just makes it have more presence. You might also want to, now you notice I'm clicking back and forth. A lot of the effects have multiple pages. As you see, I'm clicking right here. Clicking this where it says more, shows you these additional parameters. And this is where you also find the freeze. So the other thing that's cool with these effects is that you can assign any parameter here to be controlled by parameters inside the synth engine. And I'll show you what I mean in a minute. So and I have that first because I want it to then go into a delay. It's very nice to do it that way. And a couple of things that are really fun. There's a filter with resonance in the delay. right here. And if you bring up resonance, you'll hear it. As you bring the tone up and down, you hear that resonance. Well, let's go like this. Watch this. This is something you can't do on most synthesizers, because usually you go to the effects section and it's just sitting there just as this thing at the last part of the signal chain, that it can't be integrated into the synth engine. I can control click on this and say modulate, and here's all the same parameters you saw earlier. Randomize, let's say LFO. So that way, right now it's radical, right? It's going really wide. So let's go over here and let's say we want the value to be kind of in the middle, and control the strength so that it just plays around in there. But I don't want to get into the minimum. I don't want to go into the max. Let's bring it down lower. And less range. A little bit more. Cool, right? Now maybe we want the reverb to be 0. And let's assign this to the mod wheel. So as we bring up the filter cutoff of the sound, now it's currently way too much. So let's go over here to the wheel. A lot of times the maximum mix level you need for the reverb is like 9. And so that means if you need a maximum level of 9, then when you get over here to the modulation to the wheel, you need like maybe 0.2% max, and that will give you a lot of reverb at max. But I want it to be less, so let's say less, like 1.2. Okay, at this point, let's save this. By the way, as a Christmas present, this video is going to have these new patches. These new patches will be in the library, and everybody that's bought the library will get a new download, including these patches that we're making right now. So if you already bought Omnisphere, look for an email from me. And if you haven't bought it, if you buy it after this date of December 21st, the end of the world day, it will include these patches. So let's go save patch, and I'll give you a step through here. Normally you would save it into the user category, but I have already created a library, and it's right here. So we're going to go here. This is a synth sound, so we're going to go to synth poly. It's very important that you choose what category you want to save in, because that decides and tells, let's give it its name. SYN. I do this to keep everything together when you're looking in the large list. I don't like them all spread all over the place. Bass, synth, some bass, lead, effect. I don't like it that way. So synth and a space and a dash and a spiky bloomer. So I need to come over here and assign my tags. So let's say kind of an aggressive synth. It has an evolving motion. Percussive. Genre. This could be used for ambient, dance, electronica, film. Complexity. How big is this for the mix? It's a strong 2. It could be almost a 3. This is like low would be just an element that takes like 5 or 6 elements. This could be all by itself, but let's say 2, and I am right here. And patch. Cool patch me. So I'm going to here and say cool case with mod wheel doing fun. And keyword I'm going to say this is a. And then we say save. So we've saved this patch into the library. Now, if you want to play the delay times, that would be on the effect page. Here's your quarter note dot. You could say eighth notes. I like that better. So since I've already saved the patch, I just have to go save patch quick. Boom, it's done. I don't have to do all that categorizing and stuff again because I was a good boy and did it right the first time. So there we go. There's one sound. But let's mess it up some more now. Let's make it a lead. So for this, we would have maybe less feedback. 60. Let's go over here to the modulation, the LFO, the delay. I don't mind that. It's changing the sound, so forth, right? So we want to hit solo and legato. And we want to have glide. And I need this to be dirtier. So let's go to the wave shaper, turn it on. Wow. Just that alone, just bringing the sample rate conversion, the reduce is a sample rate converter. Just bringing it in the smallest amount, 0.015. Gives it a ton of edge, maybe too much so you can control the mix. Maybe for this one, let's have some fun. Let's make this octaves. So detune in octaves. Let's control the shape. And this one I want to be a little bit different for the filter. I want it to, it's going here, but I want it to continue slowly going down. So if you control click, you can say add, and it will add additional segments. It always adds it at the middle point between the first, the 2 points that were there. And if you set this, let's say I set this to back about where it was, set to lock. So this way, anything to the right will move everything else with it, which is important. And this segment right here, it made it another spike, but I just want it to be a curve 1. And zoom out, so you move your zoom out here. Okay. So turn that off. That's oscillator 1. Oscillator 2. Let's have it be something else. What should it be? Well, since we're in DSP Synth lands, let's stay at DSP Synth. I want it to be a sine. Let's go to the amp. Bring this up to get rid of the click. And let's make it a big chord thing to layer into there. Let's go harmonia. Let's have this be, I love plus 14. And then let's pan these hard left, hard right, hard left, hard right. listening to it with A and going, not right. So let's go to Sawtooth. And it's kind of sticking out, right? It needs something else moving it. So as a quick fix, there's other ways to do it. But let's go over here, and there's a wonderful chorus right here. Now if we add that to A, and maybe I don't want chords, because now I'm thinking I'm going to play leads, and I don't want to. So I don't need that 14th. Now let's look at what we got. +7. Let's do +12. A little bit less detuned. Let's try -24. Now in this case, I want resonance to go up higher. So let's go to modulation and find where we had wheel to resonance and just bring up its strength. Okay, I like that. So let's save that. Save patch. Well, let's see. It needs a little final treatment. So as we've talked about, you have A and you have B common. This is effects that are shared by both. I'm going to put a tape slammer. Take back the age to be really young. As you bring age up, it sounds older and darker. And by default, on the more side, it turns on the limiter, so you can turn that off if you don't want it to limit. I don't want it to limit, so we'll just do that. And then go back to this side. Bring the gain down just a little bit. Here's without. Gives it a little bit more. And then let's glue it with a little bit of reverb. Just a little bit. So you go proverb. Less time. I want more of a CPU load. When this was made 2 years ago, computers were a lot weaker than they are today. Bring up the density to max. And go to more. And I like the high frequency time still to be a little bit longer. There. And I have this attack being kind of soft. If I zoom into the attack on the filter, you can see I could play with the curve of this little. Just depends on how much strength you want it to have in your mix as to how your curvature is. So there we go. And if I wanted to vary the sound, have things happening, I could add things to symmetry. But really, there's a lot going on. I like it the way it is. So since it's a new patch with new elements, let's go save patch. This we have to put into leads. So I got to back out one level, go synth mono, and we'll call it spiky leader. We got the spiky series. And it pops up the things. These are also okay. So modulation. Let's see. Who's the good song? And up. Save. And save. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Don't forget there's a sale at my website on everything but Omniverse. Omniverse is not on sale right now because it just came out. But everything else is on great sales. And this is the last video of the year. So it's been a wonderful year. Thank you for your support, for everything you guys have done, comments and favorites and subscribes and all that. It's been great. So see you next year. Great stuff coming up. So I can't wait. Very excited. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you later.